Hello student, welcome to all of you. Next lecture in physics. I am Mr. Rajesh Lagat, physics teacher. Now we have to see the chapter number 1, rotational dynamics, and video number 9. In this session, we can see the very important point, the principle of parallel axis. There are the two principles, parallel axis and the perpendicular axis. You have to ask the question in your board exam. State and prove the principle of parallel axis or state and prove the principle of perpendicular axis. First we have to see here the principle of parallel axis. For this purpose we can state the principle, diagram, then proof, and we can show this in this diagram. Sometimes from this diagram we can state the mathematical statement of this principle of the parallel axis, and with the help of this we can state the principle. So that we can first draw a diagram here. Consider any rigid body. We have to consider here the small element of mass dm at point P. Here we take the principle about the axis which are passing through the point O, then next parallel axis which are at distance h, which are passing through the center of mass. Then we have to construct here, join the PO and PC and draw the perpendicular PD to the OC produce. We have to construct here, join the PO and PC and draw the perpendicular PD to the OC produce. So that this is the nothing but the right angle triangle OPD we have to construct here. This is the principle of parallel axis, so that we have to see here these two parallel axes situated by the distance h. This O is nothing but the axis which are passing through the any point through the point O, and C is nothing but the center of mass. This is the parallel axis passing through the point C, that is the center of mass. From this we can state the principle of parallel axis. This is very important. The gamma of the body about any axis is equal to sum of moment of inertia about the parallel axis, sum of moment of inertia about the parallel axis passing through the center of mass, and product of mass and square of distance between two parallel axes, sum of moment of inertia about the parallel axis passing through the center of mass and product of mass and the square of distance between two parallel axes. This is the statement. But we have to see here the mathematical form of this principle of parallel axis. Suppose that we have to consider here the IO. IO is nothing but what? Gamma of the body about an axis passing through the point O. Gamma of the body about an axis passing through the point O. This is the IO. Then what is the IC? IC be the gamma of the body about an parallel axis which are passing through the point C, that is the center of mass. And so that according to this statement, according to this principle, we can write here the mathematical form IO is equal to IC plus MS square. IO is equal to IC plus MS square. Sometime we have to remember the mathematical form IO is equal to IC plus MS square. From this we can also state the principle of this parallel axis. From this mathematical statement we can state here the gamma of the body about an axis passing through the point O about any point is equal to sum of moment of inertia about an parallel axis passing through the center of mass and product of mass and square of distance between two parallel axes. This is the IO is equal to IC plus MS square. From this mathematical state we have to write this principle, gamma of the body about any axis is equal to sum of moment of inertia about the parallel axis passing through the center of mass and product of mass and square of distance between two parallel axes, that is the h square. IO is equal to IC plus MS square. You have to draw this diagram, state the principle and mathematical form, then you get the 1 marks, half, 1 marks you have to get for this principle of parallel axis. Then the 2 marks for the proof. In order to prove this principle, we have to consider the small element of mass dm at point P. We have to prove this principle. For that purpose, we have to consider here the small element of mass dm at point P. Then we can join this PO at PC and draw the perpendicular PD to the OC produce. Draw the perpendicular PD to the OC produce, and then this is nothing but the right angle triangle OPD. Also, from this figure we can write here the gamma of the body. If you have to write the gamma of the small element, then there is no integration, but we have to take here the gamma of the whole body about an axis which are passing through the point O. Directly we can write here IO is equal to integration of OP square dm. Sometimes you have to ask how this OP square dm is come. For that purpose, you have to see the diagram. This I is nothing but what? This is the moment of inertia passing through a point O, that means here. Then I is nothing but what? This is the product of mass and the square of distance. Then mass is what? dm. Here is mass dm. And the square of distance, this OP square. This is the square of distance, OP square. That means by definition of MI, product of mass and square of distance. This is the dm is nothing but the mass, and the square of distance, this is nothing but the OP square. Therefore, we can write here gamma of the body about an axis passing through the point O is given by IO is equal to integration of OP square dm. Suppose this is the equation number 1. Similarly, we also find out the gamma of the body about an axis which are passing through the center of mass, that is the C point. Gamma of the body about an axis passing through the center of mass, and which is also given by, according to the definition of the MI, product of mass and square of distance. Here also same mass dm. Then distance square is nothing but the Cp, and therefore we can write here the Cp square dm. IC is nothing but IC is equal to integration of Cp square dm. This distance square Cp square and mass dm. This is the equation number 2. We have to find out the gamma of the body about an axis passing through a point O, and also gamma of the body about an axis passing through the point C. That means that is the IC. This is the equation number 1 and 2. We can substituting this in next equation. Then from figure we have to see here this triangle OPD is a right angle triangle, because we can draw the perpendicular PD to the OC produce, so that this triangle is the right angle triangle, and according to the Pythagoras theorem we can write, you know this well. From this OP square, this is the right angle triangle, this is the hypo, therefore we can write here OP square is equal to OD square plus PD square. We can write here OP square is equal to OD square plus PD square. Then this OD can split up into the OC plus CD. Therefore, we can substitute instead of OD, OC plus CD. This is nothing but the total OD. You know that. Therefore, OP square is equal to OC plus CD, but this is the bracket square. We can write here, but plus PD square. OP square is equal to OC plus CD bracket square plus PD square. Then expand this square bracket. OP square is equal to, you know that well, OC square plus twice OC into CD plus CD square plus PD square as it is. But we have to underline this CD square plus PD square. You can remember this. We can under this CD square plus PD square. You show that in diagram. This CPD is also right angle triangle. First we have to see here OPD, but we have to see already this CPD, which is a right angle triangle, and so that Cp square is equal to CD square plus PD square. Therefore, instead of CD square PD square, we can write this hypo, and this is nothing but the Cp square. You have to remember that terms. Instead of CD square plus PD square, we can write Cp square by using the Pythagoras theorem. This is the hypo. Therefore, the OP square is equal to OC square plus twice OC into CD plus Cp square. Then next step, integrate on the both sides and multiply each term by dm, because in above equation 1 and 2 there should be the integration, and multiply term by dm, so that we can adjust this equation taking the integration on both sides and multiply each term by dm, so that this equation becomes integration of OP square dm is equal to integration of OC square dm plus integration of twice OC CD into dm plus integration of Cp square into dm. This is the equation number 3. And then the equation 1 and 2, which can be substitute this equation 3. You can observe this integration of OP square dm, this is nothing but the IO. Then instead of OP square dm, we can substitute IO. Again, integration of Cp square dm, we can substitute IC. This is the integration of Cp square dm, we can substitute here IC. Understand? Substituting this equation 1 and 2 in equation 3, so that we get IO instead of OP square dm, this is nothing but the IO, then OC square dm plus twice OC, this is the constant, then integration of CD into dm and plus IC, because instead of Cp square dm, you know that Cp square dm is equal to IC, we can write here IC. Then this OC is nothing but distance between these two parallel axes, this is nothing but the H. Sometimes you can write this is this distance, instead of HR you can write this, but in your book we have to write H, OC is equal to H. Then IO is equal to this constant H square integration of dm plus twice H, instead of OC you can write H, integration of CD into dm and plus IC as it is. Again, you know that integrating this small element of mass dm, then we get the total mass. Therefore, integration of dm is nothing but the capital M, and CD into dm, this integration term is equal to 0, because this C point is acts as the center of mass, and which can be the also x coordinate, so that the integration of CD into dm is equal to 0. Substituting this value, instead of dm capital M and CD into dm is equal to 0, we get IO as it is H square into capital M plus twice H into 0, that is the 0, and plus IC. Therefore, IO is equal to this IC plus MS square. This is the proof of the principle of parallel axis. That means the MI of the body about any axis is equal to sum of moment of inertia about the parallel axis passing through the center of mass and the product of mass and the square of distance between two parallel axes. Hence the proof. You have to understand this principle of parallel axis very well. You can practice. First you have to draw the diagram, statement, consider part, then how you this with the help of definition of MI, we can write these terms and solve by using the Pythagoras theorem. These tricks you can be using this parallel principle of parallel axis, then you can write very well. If you don't understand, thank you all of you.